Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your June 2021 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh, all right. How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? Excuse me. How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Ooh, no, there we go. How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. I love it how your cards just are flying right out. That's beautiful. How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Perfect. Okay. So at the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say in just a moment. There we go. Give ourselves just a little bit more room. Perfect. So we have here the Four of Cups, a gift coming in. Might not feel like a gift at all as it's coming. The Death card, Scorpio energy. This is a dying away of the old self, a rebirth of the new. The Wheel of Fortune, things are changing quite profoundly. There's a sense of a new season coming, and we might not be ready for that season, and it might not actually feel like we want to be in the season that we're going into. You know, it can be for certain people. I know for me, spring is always really, really hard. It sounds funny to say, but I experienced a lot of loss in spring. So spring is a hard time for me. And we can feel like that during this time. It's almost like we're stepping into a time where we might feel like there are a few more battles to be faced than we actually want to face. There's a few more things to be seen. So that's what Spirit is showing me here. So do be very mindful of that. In our inner self, we have the Eight of Pentacles, so hard work. We have the Four of Cups again. There is the sense it's rooting us. It's coming in on our inner selves, or in our inner selves, with the sense of, I'm getting a gift. It doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like a burden. It feels overwhelming. And then we have the Queen of Wands. This is fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. If you're born on the cusp with Sagittarius, this is that energy coming forward. This is a sense of rolling up the sleeves, being ready to do what needs to be done. There's also a sense of magic around the Queen of Wands. So we're going to see how that manifests. We then have the Ace of Swords and the Seven of Swords. Okay, so knowledge and prosperity, but also trickery and heartbreak. And this kind of makes sense because this full moon is in Capricorn, and it's a beautiful full moon, but it's an intense full moon. So do be mindful of this completely. We have Temperance, which is again Sagittarius energy coming through. We have Justice, which is Libra energy. Sagittarius energy is, of course, November 22nd to December 21st is the time frame. Libra energy is September 23rd to October 22nd. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, which is us coming through as a queen. Because we have the two queens coming forward, we're going to feel much more comfortable being behind the scenes than we are going to be center stage. So we do have to be mindful of that. Let's look at our chakra energy, which we will reveal in a minute, but we're just going to see what the cards have to say. How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides. Awesome. There we go. And then the energy we need to be mindful of. How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? How will Capricorn... What is the negative energy? What is the energy that Capricorn needs to be mindful of? There we go. During the June 2021 full moon. What is the energy that Capricorn needs to be mindful of during the June 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Okay. Let's just for a moment take a nice deep breath in, exhaling, calming, and centering. Because it just feels like the energy needs it right now. Okay. So this moon will affect Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, okay? The most. So wherever these signs are in your natal chart, if you have them, they're going to come out. They're going to come out swinging during this time. And because we are a Capricorn, this is going to be a highly personal time for us. And plus, this moon phase, it doesn't necessarily play fair. So let's start off with talking about this moon. This moon is, of course, in Capricorn. We have the sun in Cancer. Now, the full moon is on the 24th of June, and the Cancer energy is coming in. We as Capricorns, well, the moon as a Capricorn is reflecting the light, but we're also going to see ourselves, Capricorn, reflecting the light of this Cancer energy during this time. We're going to find that if we surrender to the divine, that is where our power lies. That is where our intensity lies. That's where we can move forward in very real and very powerful ways. And we might say, okay, well, that's every moon. It is. It is every moon. It is reminding us that we as human beings, we have the ebb and the flow of the moon. We have phases that we go through in life. And it's month to month. It's year to year. It's as we develop, as we grow, as we gain wisdom, as we lose wisdom, as we find new paths in our lives and new ways to move forward. Now, the full moon in Capricorn says the end of a tough cycle approaches, which is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But with the sun in Cancer and the moon in Capricorn, this creates conflict. So the end of a tough cycle is approaching because we're doing the work, because it's not easy, because it is overwhelming, because there's an intensity here that we might not want to face. We might be like, Dane, enough is enough, I'm done. Yes, but, the world isn't necessarily done with us. And that's how we see that there's a gift that's coming in. It doesn't feel like a gift. And I very much feel, and Spirit is saying right now, that it's this moon phase. So this moon hits us harder than it does others. Okay, it's intense, it's powerful. With the sun in Cancer and the moon in Capricorn, Cancer is all about the private life, all about the home, all about nurturing. Whereas Capricorn is all about the public life, career, and responsibilities. And we're going to feel very drawn to these responsibilities. We're going to sit there and say, yes, well, things need to get done. And that's very true. Now, here's an uncomfortable thing to be said. This brings a battle between conditional and unconditional love. And I know that some of you might get very upset with this and say, my love isn't conditional. Then you are a developed Capricorn. But if you dealt with an underdeveloped Capricorn, love can very well be conditional. If you follow my rules, if you do what I say, if things align like this, but that's an underdeveloped anybody. So it's a vast generalization. But during this time, in order for us to move forward the way that we want to, there are rules that have to be followed. And there are rules that align with our hearts. Now, my work ethic is in Capricorn. And you can see this. You can see in the areas of you during this time, it's going to come out more. It's just going to come out and it's going to be intense. And as the sun sign, it's going to be something that blazes bright. And it's going to blaze almost as brightly as the unconditional love of the Cancer. So that is not a bad thing at all. It just isn't. What we want during this time is to nourish what is most sacred to us while still going after our goals. And with the sun in Cancer, this is calling us to our roots and to our home, to what we value, what we want, and what we desire. And with Capricorn, this is calling us to our duties, our responsibilities. I am a firm believer in responsibilities. Sometimes you just have to do things that maybe you don't want to do. Or you see everybody turn their back on something or someone, and you're thinking, that's not fair, and that's not right. And so you step in, because responsibility is intrinsically important. If nobody upheld their responsibilities, the world would fall into chaos. It would be somebody else's job forever and always, and somebody would always be passing the buck. So this is why the end of the tough cycle comes, because we're called to our duties, we're called to our responsibilities, we're called to what is needed to be done. And this brings us to, in the Cancer energy, this brings us to our beginnings and to our roots. We need to know what we're growing out of, and we need to nurture those roots. It's kind of like having a potted plant and never feeding it. It's not good. It's not good at all. The plant will die, and everything will just shrivel up. And that's how we will feel at times. If we're not nourishing our soil, we're not nourishing our roots and ourselves and our beginnings, we will feel like we're shriveling up. We will feel like everything is falling apart. Capricorn is about goals. We need to look at our goals and what we want and make sure they're in alignment with our hearts. Because if they're not, we need to reevaluate them. If they are the goals to get us what we want, to accumulate the most, to push us to our breaking point so that we can just say that we did it, we might need to step back from that. And sometimes it's a rush. Sometimes pushing that carrot out further and further, saying I can go harder and harder and harder, I can do more and more and more, it's exhilarating because it is a challenge. And human beings are made for the hunt and the challenge and the kill and the win, right? That's how our ancestors developed. That's how we developed. And it can also be looking at our roots, our ancestral roots, our roots of humanity. It's learning about the history and taking that knowledge in, even if it's not savory, even if history isn't savory, even if you sit there and look back and say, how could they? But then also we look forward and know that one day we will be judged, and it will most likely not be favorably. Here, as we look forward, we're going to see that we're building off of something. Something has been building within us for a long time. And here's the thing, this is for every single sign. Something has been building within each and every one of us. This is the moon that demands we let it out. So you might see people heading in different directions and you're looking at them and you're like, what the heck is going on here? They have let out what needs to be let out. And now that demand is being met, and they're seeing in the light of the moon what they have to do emotionally and what they have to do practically to get themselves moving forward. And that's what we're going to see for ourselves. This is what I have to do emotionally. This is what I have to do practically to get to where it is that I want to be, because this is a change. It brings the Wheel of Fortune. It is a detangling of the knots and the chaos and the mess that life is. And it's starting to see things more clearly. This will be an emotional time, and this will be a time of profound revelations. It's just going to be. Nothing is going to be held back. Now, on the 10th of July, we have the new moon in Cancer. So we have the sun in Cancer, and we have the moon in Cancer, which can be completely overwhelming. Completely overwhelming. Because now it's just all about emotions. And this brings a new beginning. Because what this is going to do is this is going to open up or peel back a layer. That's a better metaphor. It's going to peel back a layer. And it is bringing us to a beginning. It's bringing us to that blank slate. Right? And it says a new start is coming. It brings us to beginnings, walking through that portal. I always think of the new moon in relation to the god Janus. There we go. That's his name. Janus, which is the name where January got its name, because Janus is the god of portals. In Roman mythology or Greek mythology, I'm not entirely sure which one. But since the Romans stole from the Greeks, you can interchange them. What we're going to see here is it's almost going to feel like a divine touch during this time. The way that we move forward. It can be that the revelations of the Four of Cups starts coming. We start seeing that gift that wasn't a gift, and that extra burden that we had to carry, that extra responsibility that had to be dealt with, start moving us forward to revelations and understandings. And it's like, oh, that's it, isn't it? And then it brings us to you and your loved ones are safe. And that's what we need during this time. Those who I love, those who I care for, those who I am connected with are safe. And that's going to be really important. That can be all encompassing during this time. I need my loved ones to be safe. I need my loved ones to to move with me, to understand me, to be around me, for me to be able to connect with them. This could be a time where we have family over and friends over, or this could be a time where we're talking to them on the phone more than usual. It leads us, or texting them, just checking in, just wanted to see how you were doing. It leads us to the full moon in July, on the 23rd of July. It says here, show the world the real you. And this is a hard thing to do. It's, in a way, laying ourselves bare and saying, this is me. And this is what this moon, with all its conflict, with all its intensity, with all its power, is bringing us to. And the new moon in Cancer is making us check in. It's saying, be ready, be present, be powerful. Show the world the real you. Can you do it? Or is this moon going to bring us discomfort in a way that we can't understand because we're not ready for it? This is the new moon. This is the full moon in Aquarius. And by this time, by the 23rd of July, we want to be able to say, this is me. This is what I love. This is what I want. This is what I desire. It doesn't mean that we have to come out to the world if we're not comfortable with that. We might be, kind of closeted. That sounds like a bad word, but it's like much more quiet or personal. People who are following different modes of philosophy or, mythologies or religions, ideas, discoveries. Things can become very powerful during this time. And we need to just show the world the real us by naming it and claiming it and embracing it. It leads us to our chakra message, which is play and the heart chakra. Now, here's the funny thing with play, and this is something we don't realize, that as human beings, if we do not feel safe, we cannot play. If we don't feel a certain level of comfort, we will not be able to play. That's why if we're in like a hostile place, we'll find it very hard to laugh, or a very dark time in our lives, we'll find it very hard to play, to laugh, to have joy. You might say, oh my gosh, I haven't laughed like this in years. And it's because I haven't felt safe enough to release, to abandon, to embrace my heart the way I need to embrace my heart. And so the heart chakra comes forward very powerfully, very personally, and very intensely. And it guides us. It guides us towards more. It guides us towards saying, who am I? What do I want? What do I desire? How can I embrace laughter? How can I embrace joy? What is it that my heart is longing for? The heart chakra is going to be so important to us. And it then moves us to the energy we have to be mindful of. And that's the King of Cups. It's so interesting because the heart chakra, you think Cancer energy, the King of Cups, Cancer energy, also Scorpio and Pisces, and we do have Scorpio right here. But with the King of Cups, in the best form of the King of Cups, it is a person who says, I rule only me. I do not rule anybody else. I am who I am, and that is all that I can be. And it's taking the best parts of our personality and the worst parts of our personality and being aware of them. Now with the King of Cups, in the negative form, it is a person who does not take responsibility. It is a person who takes and takes and takes, who yells, who is chaotic within their emotions and uses emotions as weapons. And we have to be very mindful of this, because during this time, we have such a pull of the heart coming forward that we're going to be like, oh, I have to help this person, or oh, I have to save this person, or oh my gosh, if I just tell them what's wrong, and I say, oh dude, come on, look at it this way, move forward like this, like, let's get things in order. They won't see it, and they won't hear it. And so we have to be very mindful, because there's a part of us who can fall into the chaotic emotion state very easily. So we have to be mindful of that, of the energy that is around us that we have to be mindful of. But we also have to be mindful of people who draw us into that chaotic emotional state, who draw us into the chaos, the hurt, the pain, the disappointment, who, bring that forward, who are going to be wound mates rather than soulmates. And I do believe soulmates are anybody that you knew from a past life, who you have that connection with. They could be good, bad, or indifferent. Now it leads us to that gift coming in. It leads us to the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups is, of course, sitting down in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the person sitting down in meditation, 3 cups before them, and the 4th cup coming in, and they're not seeing it. Why? Because they're not focused there. Their energy isn't focused there. Their being, their self, their desires, they're looking in a totally different direction. And it's like, well, what if you broadened your horizon? And this is kind of like getting hit in the head with something and having to turn your face to be able to see what the heck just happens. Like if you get hit, you'll turn around and be like, what the heck was that? And that's what the Four of Cups is. It's something that first comes like a smack in the face, and it's like, oh my gosh, turn that way. And you start to be able to see what's there. And if it starts off painful, that's the only way that Spirit is showing me how to describe it right now. It starts off as painful. It starts off as doubting. It starts off as, chaotic and maybe even a bit hurtful at times. But it opened up our eyes. And it brings us then to the Death card. The dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new. The Death card here with this sense of nothing has permanence. And you might think, well, that's morbid. Well, it could be, yes. But nothing is permanent. Everything will change. Everything will grow and evolve and change. It's kind of like if you had a best friend in grade school and you get back together with them after, forever of not seeing each other. They're different people. Or in high school or college or whatever. They're different people. We're different people and they're different people. The Death card shows that change. It's the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new, the sense of everything is flux and nothing stays the same. And again, Plato said that 400 years before the Common Era. It was true then. It is more than true now. Things change at such a rapid pace that if Plato even heard of half the things that we have these magical devices that connect us with people hundreds and thousands of miles away and can show us the image of their face, that would seem like the biggest form of magic and witchcraft ever. And yet it's a reality today. Things are changing at such a fast rate that we have to make sure that we're not just swept up in the next thing, in the fastest thing, in the most glittery thing. With the Death card, there's change and there's power within that change. There's focus and there's understanding. There's a sense of certain energies leaving us. It can even be that we're going through a time where we might feel a bit negative or grouchy or, frustrated. And it can be also that we're doing things that are changing ourselves, that are detoxing us, that are strengthening muscles, that are, pushing us into new areas. And that leads us to the Wheel of Fortune. That leads us to a dying away of the old self, again, a rebirth of the new, and entering into a new season. Everything is changing. And we are embracing that change, but we also understand that things get tangled, intertwined, messy. It's all about like things getting knotted here as change comes. But it's also that smooth transition that Spirit does, because things get knotted within our own souls. And Spirit does that smooth transition to being able to embrace different powers, different understandings, different insights, different worlds, different modes of being. And we might find that we're stepping into a role within our lives that we thought, that's just not for me. And we're going to find that it is. That it is something beautiful and magical and powerful and brilliant that is for us. And it moves us then to having to accept something maybe we don't want to accept, stepping into a season that makes us face hurts, pains, and disappointments. I did share that spring has always been a hard season for me, but here it can be facing that tough season or naming that tough season. It's like, oh my gosh, that's why, that's it. And as we see it, the Eight of Pentacles comes out. And this can be doing a lot of introspective energy work, spirit work, soul work during this time. The Eight of Pentacles is hard work and discipline being put in. It's payoff coming. And what if that payoff propels us? But what if that payoff doesn't propel us career-wise, but it elevates us in our energy vibration, in what we spiritually desire and want and need, in what we're looking towards and for? The Eight of Pentacles is hard work and discipline. The Eight of Pentacles is our 10,000 hours of greatness to become great at something. It's not easy work. And whenever anything becomes work, it has a certain sense of drudgery to it. Oh my gosh, I have to do that again. It doesn't matter if it's absolutely what inspires us and we love. When we have to do it every single day, it can be something that feels overwhelming. We have to find the spark in it. We have to find the joy, the bliss, the connection to it again. Now that's where the Four of Cups comes in. This is becoming better and better at something. This is raising that determination. This is seeing and embracing that focus. With the Four of Cups, there is a sense of, again, getting a gift that doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like a smack in the face. And it's going to be more energy-wise. It's going to be more spiritual, okay? It can also be very much in the real world where you get this thing, this added burden, this curveball in your life, and you're looking at it and you're like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This was supposed to be my time. This was supposed to be my celebration of self. And now I have this. Now I have this to contend with. But what it's going to do is going to force us. It's going to push us in a direction that our hearts needed, our souls needed, that we either needed to strengthen up around, okay, or we need it. We needed that energy to come into our lives. And it brings us to the Queen of Wands. It brings us into this place of magic, of understanding. Okay, and remember, the Queen of Wands always, and I know if you've listened to me before, you're going to say, oh no, Hestia again. Yes, Hestia, the goddess of the flame in Greek and Roman homes. She was supposed to be a main goddess, but she said something which sounds extraordinary. It was extraordinary then, back in ancient Greek times, and it's extraordinary now. She said, I do not want to be an Olympian. I do not want to be, just think of that. We have Olympians now, people who train forever, from a very young age, to be considered one of the best in the whole entire world. And that's what the gods were. In ancient Greek and ancient Rome, they were the best in the whole entire world. You couldn't compete with them at all. And if you tried, bad things happened. If you said you were as good as the gods, bad things happened to you. But Hestia said, I do not want to be a main goddess, because it was going to turn them back into war. They had just finished fighting the Titans, and there wasn't an equal amount of gods and goddesses, so everybody was going to start fighting to see who was the best, who could stand, who could be the only two, or the only ones. And she said, no, we're done. We're done with the fighting. Leave me to my flame. Leave me to what I nurture, what I bring forward. And you have your glory. I'll have something quieter and more true to me. And that, I think, is a game changer. When we can say that. We can say, have your glory. I have mine. I'm building it slowly and steadily. Sometimes we lose it all. It's Kipling's poem, If. I believe we should all just have that with us all the time because it's so wise. And he says, if you can stand to have all your earnings, if you can stand to bet all your earnings on a game of pick and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. And that's it. It's being able to say, this is me. It's not never breathing a word because we have to express, but it's saying, this is me. It might not be the greatness of some, but it's the power of me. And I might be tired and I might be overwhelmed and it might be too much at times. But this is where I stand. And this is what I want. And it brings us to then in our hearts having divinity hand us this gift of the Ace of Swords, cutting through doubts and fears. This is God's source spirit, however you see the divine universe, saying, here's a gift that shows nobility, that shows wealth, that shows power, that shows influence. It is the gift of the mind. And we forget of what a weapon the mind is. The ability to think, the ability to lay traps, the ability to remember. That's what sets human beings apart. The ability to love, yes, too. But as an apex predator, when you have animals out there that could easily tear us to bits, this is what sets us apart. Our minds. And it's a gift within the mind that cuts through doubts and fears, that opens up doors, that is fierce, that is passionate, that is powerful, and it brings us to the Seven of Swords. Facing trickery, heartbreak, pain, disappointment, yes. People who have walked out of our lives, taken what they think was supposed to be their due, devastated us, destroyed us. Yes, at times, yes. But it's also taking up what we need and moving forward. Looking backwards because we're looking like, did I miss anything? But you know what? This needs to stay behind. I can't take it with me. I don't want to. We also have to be very mindful not to look back into the past as we are preparing for the present. And it's not to look back and be like, oh, okay, this is the knowledge that I've acquired. This is what I've learned. But not to think, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being too hasty. Maybe I was too hard on these people at that time, at that moment. Maybe I should have handled things differently. Maybe you should have. But at that moment, this is what needed to be done. We take our swords, we take our weapons, we take our power, we take our nobility, and we move forward with it. In the heart, the mind comes in. The heart and the mind have to come forward at this time. That's why we have the Cancer and Capricorn, erotic, chaotic dance going on. And then we move into the public arena, which has major arcana and then ourselves in the minor arcana as one of the court cards coming through. And we start off with temperance. We start off with balance. And that's that chaotic, erotic dance. I need the balance. I need the harmony. I need the insight. I need the understanding. Temperance is pouring the cups. I need to gain and not lose. I need to keep things moving. Insight, harmony. It's going to be so important. We poo-poo balance, We think, oh, it doesn't matter to have harmony in our lives. It matters so much to have harmony in our lives. Harmony is what makes us. Harmony is what guides us. Harmony is what brings us forward. If we're in a constant state of chaos, it shows. It shows in our surroundings. It shows within our inner selves. It shows within our peace. It shows within our beauty. It shows within everything. To find and carve out bits of harmony. Temperance. Balance. That's extraordinary. And in the public arena, that's what we're going to have to do, because there is that chaos coming around us. There are these gifts that are coming in that are, just swiping us aside, just wrecking us at times, making us change everything. The balance comes, and then it brings us to justice. Now, justice has always been tricky, because is it the letter of the law? Or what is justice exactly? Justice is, for me, discernment. It is insight, and it is understanding. It is knowing that I cannot be everything to everyone. It is also knowing that sometimes what is right for one person is not right for me. I was meditating on justice, the card, once. And Spirit showed me this imagery, which I've shared with you guys before, of just leaving all the doors and the windows open in your home. Putting out on social media, I'm not going to be home between these hours. All the doors are unlocked. And then coming back and then, telling the authorities, oh my goodness, I've been robbed. This is what I did. That's not being discerning. That's not being just to yourself. And that's yet what we do all the time when it comes to our own emotional energy. We give it away to people. We leave ourselves vulnerable. We leave ourselves open. We leave ourselves privy to chaos. And not just the chaos of creation, the chaos of humanity, the chaos of other people who knock us off our game, who hurt us, who destroy us, who try to take away. And this is a time where justice is about the balance of the emotional self and the responsible self, of what is needed and what is desired. And if we start being just and discerning to that energy, if we start saying, you know what, I feel really great when I talk to this person. I don't feel really great when I talk to that person. I feel great when I do this, and I don't feel very good when I do that. And we start aligning ourselves with what raises us, with what guides us, with what moves us forward. All of a sudden, things start to change. And we'll see them start to change in the public arena. And it brings us to the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is us in the Minor Arcana, in the court cards. We come through as a queen, with the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles. Wealth, prosperity, bounty, success, nurturing and growing the seeds that we desire, opening up the doors, seeing things in a different light, but also knowing that people see us as somebody who is either getting things together or has a certain wealth to them. Now we might laugh and say, oh my gosh, if you saw my bank account, it's not about the bank account. It's about the air that we have. It's about what we're nurturing, what we're moving forward towards. It's about the bounty of the individual self. And that's going to be something very powerful here. We can also find that there's wisdom that comes our way from people who have unlocked a certain door. And this is more spiritually than anything else, who have this certain sense of balance to them, of harmony, of greater understanding. And they have that discernment. They say yes to this energy, no to that energy. They organize their lives in a very certain way. And that can be something that we're drawn to and we want to emulate in our waking world. It would actually be very beneficial to emulate that in our waking world. So let's see here. What does the moon have to say? How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. There we go. How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the June 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Okay, so at our root is self-love. It's time to release negativity. I love that. Release. A fiery climax approaches. Oh, that's beautiful. Balance. Confidence is your key to success. The path. You are good enough. I like this. I like this a lot. Okay, so let's start off with self-love. It's time to release negativity. And that's what's going to be happening during this time as we embrace what we love, we embrace what we desire, we embrace who we are. And that comes from the Cancer sun. But it also comes from the logical practicality of the Capricorn full moon. Self-love is intrinsically important during this time. If we resent ourselves, if we dislike ourselves, if we are in any sort of chaotic state, whether it be internally or externally, this is a time where it's going to be amplified. It's going to be brought out. It's going to almost be, and it's a disgusting metaphor, but Spirit is showing it to me like a pimple that is just overwhelming on the face, like on the tip of your nose. So here, just be mindful of that. It's going to come out in a way that forces itself to be seen. At our root, we have here the full moon in Scorpio, and we have Scorpio energy. We have to be very, very mindful of that Scorpio energy, how that manifests within our chart, how that manifests within us. It might even be helpful to read a little bit about Scorpio during this time, just to see how it will interact with our roots and how we're building and guiding ourselves forward. Then we have release. A fiery climax approaches. And that's what we do. We release to the climax of what we desire. And so here it's like to that crescendo, it's to that high point. It's as we're building, as gifts come in that we're not expecting, as we're passionate and fiery and determined, we release what we do not want. We release what is no longer necessary. We release the negativity, the hurt, the pain, the chaos, and we are transformed. She is releasing light and butterflies from her. We are transformed. It brings a fiery climax. It brings an intensity to ourselves that we will not know that we had, can feel very overwhelmed by. This plays into the Queen of Wands energy because we have the full moon in Aries. So if you have Aries in your chart, this is going to be one of the areas we need to release things. It could also be very beneficial to read about Aries and to connect with Aries energy when it comes to the inner self, to say, okay, how do I move this forward? How does this work for me? And how can I make this work for me? But we have to be very, Spirit just telling me, we have to be very mindful of making things work, of saying, I can make it happen. We just have to see and understand how this plays into our personality. Balance. Confidence is our key to success. Balancing this energy, balancing the personal and the external world is going to be so important. As we balance, our confidence is key to success. The confidence that we have in ourselves, the determination that we have, the focus that we have, it starts to open up doors, but we need to balance it. If we do not balance it, we will find ourselves being these beings of chaos, these beings of doubts and fears and overwhelming, discord. And then it says the path. You are good enough. So that can sound condescending. I always thought this sounded condescending with the you are good enough. But it's important. It doesn't mean that it's good enough, dismissive. It means that we are enough. What we bring to this moment as we are following this path into the heavens, on this rickety ladder, is enough. And the ladder is enough to hold us. Our dreams are enough to guide us. Also, we have the Queen of Pentacles, which is also Virgo energy, representative of Virgo energy. So be mindful of that in the public arena. Virgo energy, Virgos that we meet, it can be that they challenge us in some way or another. And we have to know that we are enough. And that is enough for us. That understanding. Now, let's see our subconscious chakra message is truth, the third chakra. Speak your truth. It doesn't mean that we make things up and say, well, that's true for me. No, it's that we look at the world the way that we look at the world and say, this is how I see it. This is how I need to move forward in it. And this is what I desire from it. It's very much like how people see colors differently, depending on, the way their brain and eyes process them. So here, it's very much knowing that the truth can be different for each person. But we have to give honor to what we are seeing, to what we are feeling, and how we can either align that with others or how we can let that lead us forward. It brings us then to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. And that's Freyot. Now this is Sagittarius energy. We need to be very mindful of how we balance, because we can think, I'm in balance, I'm discovering, I'm learning, I'm opening up my eyes. But we can be very out of balance and finding more people to play into the wounds, the hurts, the chaos that we have inside of us. And that would be very easy. And it's very easy to think somebody is wise when really they are just playing into our fears and our hurts and our disappointments. Our subconscious rooted message is the Page of Swords. We are learning to be fierce. We are learning to use our words as weapons. And that sounds like a bad thing, but it's not. It's being intentional in our speech. That's what the truth is all about. When we speak our truth, we are intentional in our speech and present in the moments. We are being a student of our mind and of our words and of the power that those hold. Our subconscious inner self is the Four of Pentacles. Vampiric energy. Energy that wants to drain us. Energy that wants to overwhelm us. That's why we have to release and embrace the climax that comes with that release. And it can be, we think of climaxes as really good things, but it can be a climax of sorrow. It can be whatever the high point is. It's going to be like the rise in a roller coaster, whatever that is. And it's the release of vampiric energy. So it's a release of energy that has held us back, that has restrained us for so long. And as we start to release it, as we start to name it and see it, we start to find power within ourselves. And it brings us then to our subconscious inner self, emotional energy, which is the Two of Pentacles. We are going to be so busy wanting to balance our personal lives and our, and our public lives that our emotional self and our public self, we are going to forget to balance us. And emotionally, we need to check in just a little bit more, to ground ourselves, to understand what we want, to understand the passion that is leading us. It brings us then to our subconscious public message. And that is the King of Pentacles. Now look at that. You have the King and the Queen. My goodness, can I get it? Can I? Just one hand. There we go. We have the King and the Queen coming forward. From the same suit, same deck in this reading. That's a soulmate connection, a true love connection. That is us. We are connecting in some way to why we're here on this earth, to what we desire, to the intensity of who we are, and we might not even be cognizant of it. Again, it could be that gift that just comes in out of the blue or just smacks us in the face, and then down the road a bit, we start to say, oh wow, oh wow, that changed my whole trajectory of being, but was exactly what I needed. There's a connection coming in. Subconscious, we're not going to be as aware of the sacred masculine that comes into our world as we are aware of the sacred feminine. And we have to embrace both energies, both powers, both insights during this time. It's going to be just so intrinsically important to us. All right, Capricorn. I hope this reading has resonated with you, and I hope this moon does resonate with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this moon. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Capricorn, and may you have a blessed moon.